All right. Hello. Oh, wait.
No, this is live. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Let's continue then. What's up, Fight and Sight? This is Preston, also known as Press the Best, as you can see right there. I'll be co-hosting today alongside Timmy B. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, all the fun, normal stuff that allows Timmy to keep doing this and allows me to keep coming on here, showing my face every once in a while.
Yeah.
Leave some comments, 5-star review, just being honest, right? I'm not forcing you to do anything. It's just something that you would have done anyway. We're just reminding you. Anyway, today we're talking to a UFC legend, and we'll be going on about a budding romance, talk about the Peńa Nunes trilogy, and might even touch on the Cruz fight coming up.
Oh,
The
definitely.
sponsor for today, too, that's going to be Midday Squares. I heard they're actually amazing. You could save 15% if you type in Fight and Sight 15 as the discount code. So that's always good, too. That's kind of worth the 5-star review right there. And yeah, Timmy.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, it's Timmy B, Pretty D, Fight and Sight. Yeah, that's right.
All right, our guest today, he's a presenter, a sports commentator, and an announcer, and he is my absolute favorite. Anytime the UFC crosses the pond or stays on your side, depending on your perspective, you can hear his clean, articulate, and educated voice calling the action. He's an athlete as well, which contributes to him being so great at his job. He will regularly lace up the gloves, work on his ground game. He has a background in karate and judo, and in triathlons and Ironman competitions. He's a husband and a proud father, a left footer, an Arsenal fan. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the voice of the UK. Please welcome
John Gooden.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you for that. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. And your background, I aspire to have a background that looks like that. My God.
I was looking at like the intro, the credits, like all of this. I'm like, well, I need to raise my game here. I have got plans. This is all going to change. But yeah, let me just clip that bit out. That looks a bit better right there. Yeah.
There you go. I don't know. It looks pretty good, John. Looks pretty good. Well, thank you so much for joining the show.
My pleasure.
This is our 78th episode, and I was telling you before we started, you are my absolute favorite commentator. I think your voice is so clean. It's I'm gonna say right now, it's a damn shame that we do not hear you more. John, how do we get to hear you more? Do I got to call Dana myself? What's going on?
Well, listen, I think some of it's a product of the times, right? With the pandemic and the UFC trying their very best to get out and explore new territories. But it's, a lot of things are going to come together. The right people need to be doing the right things in the right places to be able to carry a card and all of that stuff. So, it's kind of is what it is. I haven't got a visa to work stateside. So that's the biggest hurdle. And I can't see why they're going to give me one when they've already got like a solid team already, within those borders. And I'm happy being the guy internationally as long as I get opportunities. And I'd like to think that they're going to start presenting themselves probably more next year now. I'm not sure I've got much coming up for the rest of this year, sadly, but I've got a lot of stuff going on with Fight Pass. So, I'm doing a bit.
Yeah, no, that's great. I do want to start off. Sometimes we ask for fan questions, and what I tried to do now is I try to integrate them into the show as we go rather than leave them all for the end. This one I thought I needed to start with. This comes from Benji. He says, "Who does your hair? It looks incredible."
I'm going to see Benji. I'm going to go and see Ben on Friday, actually.
All right.
Yeah, he's with a new barber. No, he's my guy. He's a UFC fan, so whenever I go and sit in the chair, I get to talk some fight stuff with Ben. So yeah, he does what he can with this thinning lettuce of mine.
That's at Benji_the barber94. So if you're in UK, go look him up, right?
Yeah, in St. Albans. Yeah, he's your guy.
Go check him out. the UK fight scene is going crazy right now, John. It's booming. You've got superstars on the rise or like already there. You've got Paddy, you've got Molly, smashing that card. Now, how do you feel as a UK guy seeing this all grow? I mean, we've been to the O2 Arena twice in the last little bit. Huge things for you. Are you proud? What are you seeing on the rise here?
100%. And I've been to the gyms as well. So what you guys aren't seeing is the next wave that are coming through from these gyms, and it's terrifyingly good. Like the standard is phenomenal. Some of the youngsters that we see coming through now, and not actually always the teams that next generation for Paddy and Molly, and then you've got Team Calbon for Tom Aspinall. You've got teams like Manchester Top Team, where Lerone Murphy trains. There's a guy like Lewis McGrillen, I think his surname is. This kid's like 5-0, 5 first-round knockouts, I think it is now. We've got some really, really good guys coming out of lots of different pockets of the UK. Sadly, not really in London at the moment, like punching through, led by Nathaniel Wood and that stunning performance he put in back at the O2. It was such a shame that he didn't get to fight in March. And I think fans, we move on so fast, we kind of forget the body of work that they've done before, like what he did at Cage Warriors, the excitement level of his fights. And I thought he just looked so damn good. And I'm pleased to say that there are more and more coming through from his gym and others. So that we're spoiled for choice right now. We just need the right guys coming through. I've got like my teammate, Sam Patterson. Hopefully he's going to break through in the next year. So, it's all looking very good.
No, it's amazing. What about when you're on the desk, and we talk about this on the show sometimes, some commentators, not yourself, are starting to get a little bit of bias starting to show through. Is it hard for you as an Englishman, and you're seeing your countrymen do so well? Is it hard not to cheer for them just that little bit more?
Well, first of all, there are people that believe that I'm entirely biased, like really biased, and I go to great efforts for that not to be the case. And like it's not even a UK thing. I mean, I don't mean to like maybe my fellow UK friends will be a bit upset about this, but I'm really close to guys that are in Sweden. Like I've been to see Jack Hermansson a bunch of times now, and I truly, have so much respect for Jack. Really like what he's doing. There are some of the guys that I like. Arman Sarukian, I got to know him a little bit, and I still interact with him on social media, like Ilya Tuporia, who's like going like this with Paddy Pimblett. Yeah, he's an absolute monster, and like I got to hang out with him a little bit in London, and I met someone that had cast him in a film, weirdly, and so then we had a little offline chat. So like, I really do get to become closer to some of these athletes, and for me, it doesn't matter where they're from. It's the guys from Australia, for example. I remember Alexander Volkanovski. We were having good chats, and it's just I don't know. I don't find it that difficult. The best man or woman must win. You have to celebrate. You have to celebrate the winner in those moments, and sometimes those moments are really hard. Like Jimmy Manuwa getting knocked out by Alexander Rakic in a brutal fashion. Right. Darren Till getting knocked out by Jorge Masvidal in a brutal fashion, and where that is difficult is when you know that their family are there. Right. And I've been in their homes. I've seen and met the family, and now they can hear me screaming for the other guy. But that's my job. So people, you see it from like on the TV broadcast side, but then in the arena, like I might be close to friends and family, and all of a sudden I'm saying wonderful things about the opponent when I've not long been drinking out of their teacup. Do you know what I mean? It's but I think people get it. That's the position that I'm in. I have a job to do. I used to commentate on my coach fighting. I've commentated on one of my coaches losing before for Cage Warriors. So there are some difficulties there. It kind of is what it is, but you have to try and be as professional as you can. You have to try and give balance to the broadcast, but it's not a set 15 minutes where you can start splitting the time equally. You go down the rabbit hole of one story on one fighter, and you've not even spoken about the other fighter yet, and the fight's done. And you're like, now it looks like I'm heavily weighted on the narrative towards that fighter, but I was never given a chance to really come out with what I wanted to say. So it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Has it ever caused any like arguments for you? Like, has anyone ever hit you up after a fight and talk like, oh, why'd you say this about me?
I've been pretty lucky. I will say this, and I don't think you'll mind me saying this. Can I say? Yeah, I can say this. Yeah. So Mark Casey's last performance, it's easy to end up going down a certain route with things, and the guys that are sitting next to you maybe don't know all the details, and so they grab onto something, and then all of a sudden you're swept away, and it's a fight, so you can't just keep talking about one thing.
Right.
I spoke about him going out to the All-Stars and like really developing his wrestling with Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat's hot shit right now. So, you mentioned his name and everyone's like, oh, Khamzat, he's a beast, that's going to do nothing but good things for him. And I got a message back from Brad Pickett after the event going, yeah, I was, you didn't really give a lot of a shine to the work that we've been doing with Mark at GB Top Team. And like Mark stayed at my house for 8 weeks. And it made it sound like it was a split camp and I felt like the information I was given, I spoke it fairly, but I wasn't able to come back round and give it the full, comprehensive this time here. And I thought that I said a bunch of this stuff, but clearly, Brad just wanted to just set the record straight. I respect him for it. Brad and I are pretty close in terms of like within the sport. So I'm happy to take that on the chin. And I explained to him, he knows what commentary's like as well. Sometimes these things just run away and you don't get to say all the things you want to say.
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny you say that because we actually had a good friend of the podcast is Brian Bam Bam Barberina. He's been on 5 times, John. He's like our best friend. And he had a really crazy story before his last fight with Lawler because he wore the South Korean flag on his shoulder. And so he came on our podcast. He told us the story of why that was. And his wife is from South Korea, and so his children have that heritage, and he wanted to wear it, and he also wanted to get to wear red shorts, which he could only do if he was on certain countries.
Right.
And so I thought this is going to be a lovely story. His wife was actually cornering him. I'm like, I can't wait for them to say this story on the broadcast, and they never got around to it. And because that fight was insanity. There was no time for frivolous conversation, right? I mean, that was just a war. So is there any stories that you were never able to get out that you think like, oh crap, I wish. Yeah.
And it's hard to break. I've got a terrible memory. Honestly, I do. I have to write everything down, but I research hard. Like it's where I take my comfort. I enjoy the process. Like I'm doing some research now for some triathlon work. And I love going through it. And I'm like, oh, this person, oh, they've done that. Or you find out all of these little bits about their character, not just, the amazing performances. And then it gets left on the table because the fight finishes early or it's just not appropriate. Or sometimes it's, not appropriate, or it's hard to find the right words to bring about the story in the shortest possible time. And for it to be kind of relevant within the realm of fighting. So, I write these things down, and sometimes they just, they don't make the airwaves. But there are plenty of stories, none of which I'm sorry I could, coming to mind.
I guess for the triathlons, you get a lot more time to talk about them, eh?
Well,
you're dying for stories.
Yeah, the triathlon thing is new to me. Like I'm still trying to design in my head how I'm supposed to commentate a triathlon broadcast. So. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm excited by the challenge. I've only done one, so I'm still very green. But yes, I need all of those stories, but I don't know it like I know MMA. Like if it was the other way around, super comfortable. Yeah, give me all the time. I'll talk to you all day about these individuals.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have to learn how to do better on this podcast, John, is we work with a page called @MMA Social Squad, and they do a lot of our cover art for our podcast, and they do fan art. And I always forget to show the guests the art that they've done. So then I always have to quickly send it to them after. But I'll put yours up here, John. Boom.
Ah, look at this.
Wow.
Voice of the
Oh,
UK.
Big Ben there, just about tickling my Adam's apple. This is nice.
Yeah,
Right,
so
I've lost those sunglasses. Those sunglasses, that's made me sad. I've recently lost those sunglasses. If anyone sees those Ray-Bans with the blue lens, they're matte black as well. I've missed them dearly. Damn it.
maybe a Fight Insight viewer or listener has them and they can send you them for
That
free,
would
John.
be just swell.
I'm gonna get like 40 pairs now.
Oh, yeah.
You mean all our viewers are going to send one? John, I do want to ask you, we talked about the bias stuff. Oh, one thing before I show this video. They've now gone to 3 commentators. In the last few years, it seems like now rather than a duo, there always seems to be a trio. Do you like that, or do you find that it's harder to manage with 3 people like over talking one another and it's not really just a conversation between 2?
At first, I was a little not nervous, but I thought that I was going to have less time on the mic. It is another person to manage, if you like, because I'm the lead guy. As much as it's the producers and they don't get enough credit, by the way. I'm essentially the lead voice, and then the guys follow. So then you want to make sure that you're throwing the right kind of questions or leads to the right person that's next to you that can respond with the best response. And I worked with Dan Hardy, obviously, for a long, long time, and we spent a lot of time on the road together, and I really knew where his strengths lay. So that allowed me throwing the ball up. I sometimes even knew what Dan was going to say. That was the beauty of having a strong partnership. So when I was working with Paul, like it was Paul and Dan, it's like, oh, am I giving him enough? So did I overdo it then to give more? To a bit like the bias thing, right? You then try and overcompensate to make sure that the other person's part of the conversation. So there's definitely that to consider. Of course, the producers will tell you if you're not getting that balance right. And then I started to really appreciate the different viewpoints, and we are sort of spoiled as viewers sometimes. I know that some fans have issue with certain guys, but I'll be honest with you, working with them, having those conversations and throwing some stuff at these guys who have done absolutely everything, I think it's such a privilege. It's such a privilege. Just sit next to Michael Bisping. There is nothing that guy has not experienced in fighting, really. So you can go in any direction and he'll have a response that he's literally trodden the boards of, so that's when I've worked with, I've been lucky enough to do the same thing with DC. Same again. And I actually really like it when he's challenged in the technical wrestling. And I will try and bring that out of him as a keen grappler. I'm always looking to try and elicit the kind of more technical responses as well. So yeah, I think we're really lucky, and it allows me to take a little step back and reconfigure, especially as the broadcasts are getting a little bit more complicated, more promotional material. It allows the play-by-play guy just to step back, recalibrate a little bit, and then go again. So I see the positives. Are there negatives? I feel like the broadcast can sometimes get diluted with respect to the individuals, because it's not just 3 actually, because there's always a reporter, and those reporters are involved on the walks. They come to the broadcast booth as well. Then they have a coach who chimes in too. By the way, Dean Thomas for me has some of the best takes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they're using him a lot.
I think he is phenomenal.
One of the best additions
as well, but Dean is just so good in that role. Brilliant stuff. So actually there's like sometimes 6 voices. Then if they've got someone on the desk and they think that it's a really, like, there could be a really good piece of insight, they'll bring them in as well. And I guess it gives a more rounded broadcast. But I have to say, sometimes I'm like, what's wrong with our views?
Yeah.
Maybe that's also because I'm only getting a few run outs in the year as well. So if I was doing one every week, then people would want to hear less of me anyway.
That's true. That's true. John, I know we're running short on time. Can I just ask you one video related question? I want your take
I'm
on.
good for time. If you guys need
All
a
right.
little more time, it's fine.
All right. Okay. And I will give a shout out to Bisbing. It's because of his podcast that I started this one. His podcast is great. The Believe You Me. I love it.
Yeah.
I took a lot of inspiration from that when we started this one during the pandemic. And I also want to say, when you say, hey, it's hard working with new people, I just recently lost my regular co-host. So I keep swapping in new people. So I know the pain of working with newbies, John. I've got Preston here and it's tough.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to show this video. Preston, I don't think you know what this video is. This is after the latest Aspinall versus Blades card. And this is a little, I don't know if this is true, John, and I don't know if you're going to get in trouble if you tell me if it's true, but let's take a listen to this.
One thing I thought was very interesting, they did to all the American fighters, which is kind of janky, but in no way affected the outcome of my fight. I'm not using this as an excuse. But before they start playing their walkout song, they're playing like the pre-fight videos, or they're kind of giving the introduction to the fighters. And for the British fighters, they stay behind the curtain until their song starts. But for the American fighters, they have you wait in front of the curtain for a minute as the crowd's just cussing you out in this. So that's really strange. I know it shakes up a lot of the other American fighters. I thought it was funny. That's always funny. That's hilarious. But yeah, got some beer thrown at me. I don't like the way I smell right now because of that.
That's the Monkey King, Jordan Levitt. That's after his Paddy Plimblett. We had him as a guest on our podcast, John. I don't know if you've spoken with him in length, but that dude is a great dude.
Really. Yeah, I got to speak with him a couple of times too, because I do the pre-fight interviews that you see just before they walk out. So you know the one with the orange globes.
Yeah.
So I produce a bunch of stuff for the UFC as well. Yeah, when they did the shadow boxing sequences, I'm in the room for the European and some of the international cards. I asked the questions and that kind of stuff. So I did that, and obviously had him in the fighter meetings. Now I did not know that, and I've been back. I've done the backstage reporter role a few times now, and I've never really I remember seeing. I mean, I've got video footage actually. Like Dan Hardy and I, when we were on Fight Island, we were there showing video footage of the fighters all in exactly the same spot before they were walking out. So I don't know if Paddy was getting a bit more treatment because of who he is, as
the
in
blackout.
They were getting his walkout from a little further back, a bit like the main event walks do. So I don't know about that, but it's an American promotion. Do you know what I mean? It's an American
What about? I've heard that they prod the Canadians with sticks sometimes.
That is
true. Is that
that
true?
That's hot. And the sticks are hot.
Yeah, that's why there's a few of us in there now.
Yeah.
We were hot for a while. Now we just kind of,
because the Canadians are just so nice, they just accept it.
Yeah, and we actually say thank you when you do it.
Yeah, sometimes I've heard that as well.
John, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you, where can people find and see you next? Because over here in Canada, we're limited a little bit maybe to some of the shows, but for all of our worldwide viewers, where can people see John Gooden?
Mostly I do stuff on Instagram. These days I've got a really solid deal with UFC Fight Pass. So I have something called Eurowatch, which, I mean, obviously, works better if you're in the European market, but fans should be interested as well. I give a kind of spotlight to Europe, a couple of European fighters on every card, and just give some details, show some like past fight footage, grab some photos and stuff, just to give you an idea of who they are and also then the opponents as well, and what we might like look to see in that fight. So I do one every week there. I've also got a podcast called Octagon Side, which is now on UFC Fight Pass as well. I'm mainly talking with coaches. I also spoke with Mark Goddard as well. So I'm trying to do that. And then every other week, I'll just talk to the camera and I'll pull up some, like when I was in London, I gave some takes on like bigging up the fight card, some of my ideas of how I saw some stuff, some behind the scenes things. So I'm trying to do a little bit more with Fight Pass. They've been good to me, really good to me. So I'm, trying to put a lot of my stuff there. I'm on TikTok a little bit as well. I do believe that TikTok isn't just for teenage
dances.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it might happen. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing very well with the numbers, so maybe that's the missing source that we need right now, or maybe absolutely not. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, I think that Twitter on Fight Night, as everyone else is, but generally speaking, Instagram's where I'm at. But yeah, probably need to do more, but you know how it is, life interrupts and all that. Trying to give time to the family and get on the mats and progress my own martial arts journey as well. So
yeah, and for those that are listening just on audio to this podcast, it's at John Gooden UK. That's his Instagram. We have it showing down here on the bottom of the screen. John, of all those young fighters that are coming up, who should we reach out to, Fight Insight? Who should we reach out to have a guest on the podcast that would be a fun and interesting person?
Muhammad Makayev is a guy that you got to get on. He's really good fun. I would say get like Nathaniel Wood, Jack Shaw. Those guys are always really solid interviews. They got interesting stories as well. I mean, there's you can take your pick. Brits normally have a good sense of humor as well, so you can tap into that.
Definitely.
And, yeah.
That Makayev guy.
Yeah.
He's one to watch. Who the hell has 23 amateur fights, 23-0 before he then goes
that's
pro?
Just the recorded ones, like the legit ones. Not like he wasn't doing like bad stuff, but he did a bunch of boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. The guy has an insatiable appetite for competition, and everything he was doing was building towards, becoming the youngest UFC champion, which he's kind of on course for. Probably needs to get things cranked up a little bit, but he's got, is it Malcolm Gordon he's fighting next? So
Malcolm Gordon, we've had him on our podcast. He's a Canadian. You can poke him with sticks, but that's a flip-em fight, man. Malcolm Gordon's looking good for a flyweight. He looks jacked. I mean, I don't know what I don't get that kind of diet or nutrition, but
hey, listen, so these MMA athletes with the stuff that's available to them now, with the good coaches that they have around them, man, it's incredible what they're able to achieve, how they look, the whole weight cutting thing, which I wish didn't exist in our sport, truth be told. But yeah, awful stuff. But yeah, no, if you can get Makayev on, he'll give you a good interview for sure.
Makayev will be good. And John, one last thing. Do you at all watch Bare Knuckle BKFC?
No, I'm not a fan.
Oh, okay. There's a guy from Birmingham. His name is Connor Tierney. He's fighting on the next card, and he's a massive guy. He's incredible. So if you ever watch, look out for that guy.
Okay, will do. Yeah, it's
Connor
only because
Tierney.
I think I better just say my thing here. I have a problem with anything that could negatively affect MMA. I've always had this problem. I've got a problem with wearing 4-ounce gloves in a cage. So if it's not MMA, it's like kickboxing. Kickboxing is 8-ounce, 12-ounce, whatever gloves, like size gloves they want to use. They've got Waco and Iska and their stuff, and that's legitimate and it's amazing. Glory, love it, love all of that. That's where it should be, in a ring. Why do we have a fenced environment? Because of people getting thrown around like judo style, and it's to keep people safe. So and now we've got this crossover with a lot of MMA athletes going over for bare knuckle and stuff like that. If anything bad happens to bare knuckle in the association with MMA, we're the ones that suffer. So with that, as they say on Dragon's Den, I'm out.
John, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. When I started this podcast, it would have been a dream of mine to have you on. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. All the best to you. Good luck in all your future endeavors. Everything that you do is solid gold, my friend. And hopefully one day we'll have you back on again.
100%. Best of luck with the podcast. Looks great. Sounds great. You guys are doing a great job. So thank you very much. Hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers now.
See ya.
All right, buddy.
All right.
I mean, that was pretty cool to interview John Gooden.
Yeah. One thing, maybe I should have said it while he was there, but I did some research. Apparently, he was an electrician, an inspector
Yes,
before
he
he got
is.
into it.
Wait a second, and
Yeah,
you are too.
something like that.
Dang.
Yeah, I do
Well,
elevator
elevators.
construction. But I was
Dang.
like, how do you take the leap from like, a safe, well-paid job to doing something that you're passionate about, right? And for him, obviously, it worked out,
Yeah, I mean, like
right?
this guy, yeah, this guy's life. Oh my God. Like if you go to his YouTube channel and watch some of his videos, I mean, just sometimes he'll do some video logs of him like touring around the cities that he's in or in Abu
Mhm.
Dhabi on Fight Island. It's like, oh man, crazy. And to have
Yeah,
his life where like right now he's studying for triathlon so that he can like, do the commentary.
right.
Dream job, my friend. Dream.
Dedication, yeah.
For those that are here watching the podcast because of John Gooden, thank you for showing up. Please stick with us, follow, subscribe, like Preston said at the beginning. Next week on the podcast, I'm super excited. Now, forget what John Gooden just said, but BKFC superstar. She is fighting for the strawweight title on September 10th, Britton Hart. She is coming on the podcast next week, so we're so excited. Britton Hart Beltran, because she's married to Joey Beltran, the former champion as well. She's going to be on the podcast. Super excited for that. That is going to be crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And as Preston said, visit middaysquares.com and use code FIGHTINSIGHT15 to save 15%. Those are those functional nutritional chocolate bars we talk about. Please do visit and support the show by doing that. It's because of all the people that are doing that, Preston, that that they are buying the chocolate bars. People have reached out to me and said how good they are. Because of that, we're going to be doing some unboxing videos. So, Preston, have you been seeing these? These are those. I got three different boxes so far of the UFC cards. I got all the different types. So this is the Don Russ 2022. This is the Panini Prism. And then I got here the Panini Select. So we're going to do some podcasts and we're going to unbox these bad boys and see how rich I am after all these cards I unboxed.
I know I wasn't having any luck with the Pokemon cards, and then I was thinking about the UFC ones. So I was like, at least I'm interested in the sport, right? So that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then these ones come like you can get like the ones with the signatures and all that. And then I was checking on eBay. It's like, they sell for like $400 or whatever. So I'm like, oh baby, I'm gonna parlay this into some good money, my friend. All right. So what are we gonna talk about? Oh, friends of the podcast update. We've got a few friends of the podcast that are fighting this weekend on August 12th. We've got Tyler Schaefer. She fights for Combate Global on August 12th. You know her from her appearance here on the show as well. She was a co-host one week. And then we've got Canadian fighter Lupi Godinez. She fights on the UFC card this weekend. So we'll get to that anyways when we do the picks. All right, my friend. Let's step away from fighting and go to love.
Yeah.
If anyone knows about love, it's you, my friend.
Yeah. Do you know I was born on Valentine's Day?
Were you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey,
love,
we're close.
it's through my veins.
Well, there you go. You're February 14th. I'm February 22nd, so we're close. I am going to show, if you are are you listening to the audio version of this podcast, you got to come over to the video or go to Preston's Instagram. Well, it's not there yet, but it's going to be. What's your Instagram?
Press the Best.
PRESS.
Yeah. And then THEBEST.
All right. Press the Best. And this happened 2 weekends ago.
You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. You take care of me better than I take care of myself. Just, will you?
That is so awesome, dude. So for those that aren't watching it, that is Preston after his last fight in New York.
Yeah.
In New York, you get down on the knee and you proposed to your corner woman.
Yeah.
Right? So congratulations, my friend. That was so wonderful, man.
Yeah, it was so like I planned on doing the proposal anyway. It was going to be next January because we were going to go
Okay.
to the Philippines and we're going to be with her family and whatnot. So I had this kind of all planned out. But then I got this opportunity to take this fight at Warriors Cup in New York. It's like one of the biggest Muay Thai organizations in America right now.
Yep.
So I had to do it. I was fighting the champ. It was a title fight. And she was coming down with me. The guy who'd be in my corner, he couldn't come anymore. So we still had a spot for one more person. So I was like, gets her a free ticket. And then I thought, she's going to be there. A lot of her family's watching. A lot of my family's watching. So why not just, cheap out on a photographer and videographer and just get it done there?
Nice.
And yeah, it worked. I had a thought, like, if I lost the fight, I would maybe retire from doing big fights, like maybe just kind of fight around the local circuit, but yeah, not maybe take these big fights anymore because it's hard to find the time to train now. Like I have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I did well in the fight. Like I cracked him. I gave him a standing 8 count. So I thought, I still have some punch left in me. Maybe I'll stick around. So the speech I did before the proposal, that was supposed to be the retirement speech. But then I didn't know what to say anymore because I wasn't retiring. So it was just like an awkward, I don't know what I said.
Yeah.
I'll have to send you the full
transcript?
video there. I just kind of went on like 6 different tangents and
No, it was beautiful, man. One of the things that I thought was so funny when I saw that video is your opponent in the background. He seems happier than anyone. Like he is just cheering and clapping. Like that is such a cool thing.
That's what everyone comments on. And it's like, it's the beautiful thing of the sport too, right? Like,
yeah.
Before the fight, like we did the weigh-ins and the stare down, and I tried to talk to him during the stare down, but he wasn't having it. He wouldn't say anything to me.
Okay.
But after the fight, it's like, we've done what we did already. He trains, I train. We both know the kind of risks we're taking. So afterwards, there's nothing else to do but be good with each other, right?
Yeah. That is awesome. Okay, I'm going to show the video here. Just pay attention to right behind Preston. You will see his opponent.
You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. You take care of me better than I take care of myself.
Like he's clapping more than anybody. And actually the video, I mean, I'm sure when it goes on your video, you're going to see, but like, it was so cool. Like you see the fans all over in the rafters and all around, and they're all standing and cheering. So really awesome, man. So congratulations on this, buddy.
No, it was amazing. That was probably like best weekend of my life. That was good.
Yeah. Amazing.
And I
man.
lost.
Amazing.
Like I was so happy after I lost too.
But you were fighting several weight classes up.
Yeah.
Right?
So this was
because it was short notice.
16 pounds over what I normally fight. So
yeah, that's
being
a
the first
lot,
person,
dude.
Sorry?
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then like also being the first person to put this champion in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I was very proud of myself. The promoter, they were very proud, and well, not proud, but like, what's the word? They were impressed with me, right? They wanted to keep their champ the champ. Obviously, he's from New York, so it just worked out.
Yeah. No, congratulations, man. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it was good.
It's great. Speaking of love, did you know about the it's almost like a season of The Bachelor happening on the UFC? This is where I got to get rid of this banner here. So what I'm putting on screen is where Diana Belbita, UFC fighter, not hard to look at. She tweeted after one of Terrence McKinney's fights, "If Terrence fights Patty and beats him, I will start dating T." You heard about this, right?
Yeah, it was going all around Twitter and Instagram, I guess.
Yeah. And
what's the background? Like, do they know each other well? Like,
I have no idea. I don't know the story. Like, he's not Canadian, right? I don't think he's Canadian. That goes around though, makes headlines because it's like, now it is kind of weird, right? But okay, maybe there's something there. And then, so I thought, okay, we should talk about it on the podcast. And then last week, before Terrence fought on the card, I thought, we should talk about it. Of course, we've run out of time. Don't talk about it. Then he wins in glorious fashion, and he calls out Patty.
Yeah,
like, Well, of course you're calling out Patty because you got Diana on the line here, right?
Yeah, and that tweet resurfaces and
the tweet resurfaces and everything. Now, mere minutes before we started recording this podcast, did you see what happened? Were you glued to your
No.
phone as you should be, Preston? No?
No, I was getting a massage
Well,
actually.
Oh, okay.
Using those benefits.
Sudden those
Ran right
electrician
over here
benefits.
after. Yeah.
So the tweet comes out. I'm putting it on screen here. Bam!
The bet is off.
Congrats. So Diana tweets congrats, confetti emoji, prayer emoji. Sorry, the bet is off. So then people are like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? Right? Then you go over. So then I'm trying to research really quick because I'm like, what the hell? There's no news outlet that has reported on this very important news, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Then you see on T-Rex's Twitter, he posted this, and apparently he just had a baby. So his Twitter says, I understand now, I'm a father and I always respect my son. And he has some other beautiful posts with his little newborn baby.
Yeah.
So I guess
probably her trying to save herself from having people think she's trying to wreck a family now, or
well, yeah. And I mean, I obviously then the first post that she posts, obviously she has no clue. Because you're saying like, oh, what's the relationship? Must not be much because obviously he's having a baby.
Yeah.
So, you know, in typical Days of Our Lives fashion, you know, the romance is up, the romance is down. And then you look below, this is the worst. You look below the Twitter of Diana's that says the bet is off. And it's just people blasting her. Like, why? What's going on? Why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Right? And then even I've just cut a few pieces here. Sweet Dreams Hill tweets, she belonged to the streets. And then Diana responds, I call it self-respect. So she would, I mean, I feel bad for her, but she's getting hammered on Twitter as of the time of recording this. I don't think everyone goes over to McKinley's onto his thing to even see what really is happening. And she, you know, why would you not just say congratulations on your newborn son? The bet is off.
Yeah, just turn it into like a joke or something.
Add something. Here's another thing. How about just not friggin' tweet about it at all? Like, this is not a legally binding contract, Diana. Like, just because you tweet that, if he does go out and beat Patty, you don't have to date him. And it's not like you said you're gonna marry him. So like, it was just such a weird thing. But I thought we would talk about that.
I mean, I don't know. I guess like when you have 100,000 people or whatever watching your every tweet and your every move, and then you kind of make it into the headlines with that tweet, now you're thinking like, oh, like what's the best thing to say now? How do I save myself? Do I need to save myself? Right?
How many times did she probably rejig that tweet? Right? And it's funny because she even said after that first tweet went viral, she said that she put it on Twitter and didn't put it on her Instagram because her coach doesn't follow her Twitter. And she was like, I was just doing something. I didn't want my coach to see it. And then it blew up. Right. And so you're right. She probably ended up feeling like, oh crap, now I got to respond to this and now I got to do something. And I guess, hey, maybe if she didn't respond, then people are going to be like, oh, well, what's going on? And the people will just ask her forever. Right. Like, what's the deal? But at least now she's ended the chain. But I like how Sweet Dreams Hill like comes in fast and hot on the thing, man. That's pretty funny.
Like someone else you need to get on the podcast to talk about now.
Who, Diana?
Yeah.
Diana does not respond to any of our tweets or mentions, press. She does, you know, speaking of the team that does the posters at MMA Social Squad, she reposts their stuff all the time. So I just got to somehow figure it out, you know. Then we'll play matchmaker, or we'll do some sort of newlywed game with Diana. All right. From one female star to the next.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm showing a picture here of the Venezuelan vixen. Now, you saw this fight between Juliana Peña and Nunes?
My heart broke a little bit in that one.
Ugh, that was a tough one. Preston, the question for you is, do they do a trilogy fight next?
You know what? Next, I don't think so. But I think Peña is one fight away from getting that trilogy. I think that's what needs to happen. I mean, but that's the thing, like, who's up next right now? Like, who would be up next?
Ketlin
This is for the
Vieira,
135, right?
135. You got Ketlin Vieira, hot on the heels of the title. You got Raquel Pennington, who's made a run back.
Mm.
In truth, I wouldn't mind seeing Raquel versus Peña. They're kind of evenly matched. I feel like they're both kind of that brawler.
Were they on the same season? They were on the same season, weren't they?
If I ran a
Misha
podcast, I should know that. I know Raquel was on, but yeah, Peña was on there.
Peña
So they
won.
were on the same season?
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be. I feel like that's a good fight. I know that online they were saying it was going to be. People were predicting Raquel versus Ketlin Vieira as kind of like a contender fight. But okay, so you're saying no to the trilogy immediately. So you're saying that after 25 minutes of getting murdered, you don't deserve a rematch, and having never defended your title once.
Yeah. So the reason why because normally it'd say like, okay, no, she got beaten bad, right? But yeah, the reason why I even contemplate is because like she still kind of gave her a fight in a way that like no one else has. Like some people, or a lot of people, thought like the first fight between them was like, oh, she got lucky with a few punches, or maybe Nunes was just not training or something, right?
Yeah.
But she kind of proved that first fight wasn't a fluke. Like that's how she fights. She's very aggressive. No one's aggressive like that to Nunes.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, whatever it was didn't go in her way this time, right?
Yeah. No, she got in some good shots.
Yeah, she had a lot of those submission attempts, which had me screaming every time. I was so excited, but
it was good. So I like Peña a lot. I was hoping she would win. I thought she would win. I did some very poor body language analysis on our Instagram where I thought I could see that Nunes was fading, but okay. Just so we're clear, I 1,000,000% do not think she should get a trilogy fight next. You're right. I think she fights one, maybe two fights, and then gets her shot back. Right? Because I don't think after 25 minutes of getting beat like that, 50-43, I think it was on most scorecards. So that means there were like 2 10-8 rounds. I don't know that you go back there, because if you lose again, then what does that do for your stock? Like, I also feel like when I look at your Wikipedia results, I need to see green, red. Like, I can't see red, because that's not good.
And then even if she does beat 2 other people, everyone's just going to think like, oh, we've already seen what happens when she fights Nunes, right?
Yeah, but you're growing. She's still young-ish.
She's been out for a long time too, right?
Yeah, she was out for a long time, so she's kind of come back and she's doing well. I always wanted to see Peña versus Tate because I thought that would be a good matchup. But anyways, so we will see. But okay, so both of us agree Peña Nunes trilogy should not be happening right now. So that's fine. Last thing that we are going to talk about, or that we have scheduled to talk about, is the upcoming fights this weekend. So here is the official poster.
Chito Vera.
All right. Chito Vera versus Dominic Cruz. Preston, what do you notice about this poster? I'm going to ask you.
What do I notice?
Do you notice anything odd about the poster? Putting you on the spot here.
No, I can't pick it out.
How many fighters do you see on the poster?
Just the 2.
Just the 2, because this card is very weak.
I was about to say, who else is fighting?
Yeah, like, it is weird that, I mean, I know that they do this sometimes, but on this card especially, 33% of the main card doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Okay, so 4 of the 12 fighters on the main card don't have a Wikipedia page. 4 of the 10 on the prelims don't have a Wikipedia page. I know that doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
but it kind of means something, right?
Yeah, the only positive thing like that I've noticed is usually on those cards where, they look weak, like it's
Yeah.
all kind of no names or people who are having their first fights and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They are all people who have something to prove, right? They kind of see this as like, oh, this is my chance to do something that's going to make me stand out and get the bigger fights down the road. So
Yep.
you might end up with, it might not bring a lot of people to the card or to the fight, but there might be a lot of highlights afterwards, right? There might be a lot of first round finishes and whatnot.
Damn straight, just like
Right.
last weekend,
Yeah.
right?
It was
Last
every
weekend,
fight was a finish there.
100% finish rate, right? 100% finish rate. That was not a very exciting looking card, right? And it
Mhm.
ends up in 100% finishing rate. I was messaging Joe Martinez, ring announcer Joe Martinez.
Yeah.
He's been on the podcast. He's a wicked dude. I was messaging him during the fights while they were happening, and I was like, dude, you're not getting a lot of time to rest here. Like in between announcing, like the fights were going so quick, and
Yeah.
he was laughing. But yeah, I mean, that was a great card. So you're right. That's what could happen on this card. But
Mhm.
let's take a look at a few of the fights on the card. The first one I want to look at is and I'm so mad that this is on the prelims, but our former guest of the podcast, Lupi Godinez, Mexican Canadian, versus Angela Hill at a catch weight of 120 pounds. I don't understand why that is, because they're both normally straw weights. I think Angela Hill took this on short notice, or no, I don't even know. Anyways, Lupi Godinez versus Angela Hill. Preston, do you know both of these girls, and who is your pick?
I know Angela Hill very well.
Okay.
She's been all around. But
Lupi Godinez is the one that fought like 3 times in 45 days. She had that record.
Yeah.
She's the one that power bombed Jessica Peña on her debut. She's a monster.
I actually remember that one.
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, and it's sad for me because like I've been watching UFC for, I don't know when I started. I guess it was around like 2011, maybe 2012.
Okay.
And all the guys and girls who are kind of from that era, you're just seeing them all go out in like a sad way, right? Like Donald Cerrone and all of them.
Yeah.
All your greats, you're like, oh, this might be their retirement fight. I want to see them go out with a bang, but it's like the complete opposite.
Well, it is a bang, but it's the bang on the wrong side. Yeah.
So yeah,
you're right.
You're
right. Angela Hill, she's an OG, but she is only 1 win in her last 6 fights. She's on a 3-fight losing streak. And she's fighting Lupi Godinez, who is a monster. Her last fight, Joe Rogan was singing her praises, saying that this is her coming out party. He has never seen her look that amazing, blah, blah, blah. That was when she beat Ariane Carnelossi. Lupi is 8-2 on a 2-fight win streak. She's won 3 of her last 4. Preston, this is not even going to be close, my friend. Lupi is going to destroy Angela Hill. And I know Angela Hill trains with a bunch of people that we're friends with. So, I do like Angela Hill for that. She's blocked us on Instagram, so I'm not, her greatest fan. But I wish her well.
That? Why do I remember that?
What happened? That she blocked us?
Yeah.
Because I made a comment saying you shouldn't be talking shit about Tisha Torres for looking all muscular and saying that she takes steroids when there's never been a thing about that. Like I don't think she's ever tested positive or what. Who cares? You can't.
Yeah, it's big accusations.
Yeah, you got to be respectful, man. And Tisha Torres has always looked jacked.
Yeah.
So like it's not like she suddenly showed up like Uberim one day.
Yeah.
So anyways, I said something like that politely, but instant block. So anyways, Lupi Godinez for Canada, kick ass, get that fight. In the main card, I want to talk about the women's flyweight fight, Cynthia Calvillo versus Nina Nunes. That's Nina Ansarov. That's Amanda Nunes' wife.
Yeah.
Preston, Nina Nunes or Cynthia Calvillo. Do you know these girls?
Yeah. Who would I pick on this one?
Just for some backstory here, Nina Nunes lost her last 2, but before that, she was on a 4-fight win streak. She's 10-7. And Cynthia Calvillo, who fights out of Team Alpha Male, or she did. Now she's with AKA. She's a gritty, tough fighter, but I know she's had some hard times. She lost her last 3. She's only won 1 of her last 5.
This is what, the co-main event?
No. This is like 3rd on the card. I'm just saying this one because Nina Nunes adds some interest here.
Right,
because even though she's on a 2-fight losing streak, but does she draw off the energy of her wife on that dominant win? Motherhood, blah blah blah. What's going on?
Yeah, so not even just with the whole relationship thing, but Nunes, Amanda Nunes, she must have been like, this training camp must have been like an intense one for her, right?
Yep.
She wanted that belt back and whatnot.
Yep.
And you'd got to think that she was right there with her, right through the camp. So
of course, because your fight was 2 weeks later.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, her cardio must be amazing right now. She might be on top, whereas with Cynthia, with all those losses, I don't know. It does something to you. It makes you question yourself. It makes you question your routine and your attitude with fighting, your style. It just throws you right off. So
now I don't know when she switched over to AKA. To AKA. Sometime in 2020 is what Wikipedia says. But since 2020, I mean, before that she was 8-1. In 2020, she has 1 fight. She beats Jessica Ai. Then she goes on a 3-fight losing streak. So potentially you move gyms and you either have gone 1-3 or 0-3.
Right. And I mean,
she's got 0 chance, dude. 0 chance.
Beating Jessica Ai isn't really, I mean, like, who hasn't beat Jessica Ai at this point, right?
I have not beaten Jessica Ai. So I will put that out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't either.
But I know but I know what you're saying. Okay, so we're going with Nunes on that?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, let me just tell you right now, Preston. If you want to make money for your wedding, right? Like you need money for an elaborate wedding, okay? Fight Insight may do a podcast from your wedding.
Let's do that.
You bet all your money on a parlay on Lupi Godinez and Nina Nunes. And God knows the odds may not be fantastic, but anytime it's a parlay, it's pretty decent. So I think you go Lupi with Nina Nunes, and I think that's your money in the bank because I don't see either of those two winning. Two losing.
Yeah.
Now, the next two fights on the main card have fighters that are fantastic, but let's skip over those. We're going to go to the main event. We'll go to Marlon Chito Vera versus Dominic the Dominator Cruz. This is a very interesting fight. This is like a title eliminator fight. What do you got, Preston? Break this down for us. This is why you're here. This is why we're paying you the money.
Yeah, I would say stylistically. So Vera's he's on a rise right now, right?
Yep. 3-fight win streak.
Yeah, you could tell they kind of want him for the title shot eventually. But so he lost to Aldo. That was his last loss, right?
He lost to Aldo back in 2020. Since then, he beat Davey Grant by decision, Frankie Edgar by that disgusting front kick, and then the murder of Rob Font on the 5-round decision. And that was also fight of the night, performance of the night, fight of the night.
Right. But see, with Aldo was he was very quick, right? I think that was causing a lot of problems with him, and going against someone like Dominic Cruz, I think he might find issues with that style as well. But the one thing is that Vera can crack, right?
boy.
And I don't know. Cruz doesn't get hit often, but when he does get hit, when it turns to like a Cody Garbrandt kind of fight, he's doing back somersaults on the floor and whatnot, and so I could see it going that way. I don't know. The longer the fight goes, I think the better it is for Cruz, and it might be good that it's a 5-round fight.
Yeah. If he can kind of avoid and duck dodge.
Yeah. Get them leg
bring
kicks
it into
in
later rounds.
Just pick them apart, right? Just touch, frustrate him. But for Vera, he's gonna want to try and take him out like in the first 3 rounds, first 2 preferably.
Dominic Cruz is on a 2-fight win streak. He last lost to Henry Cejudo and Cody Garbrandt back in 2020 and 2016. Because remember, Dominic fights, he's had all his problems with plantar fasciitis or whatever it is, right? Like he's had lots of problems. So 2-fight win streak though over Casey Kenny, which was a split, and then Pedro Munoz, which was a unanimous, and that was a fight of the night as well. Does age come into factor, Preston? Dominic Cruz is 37. And Marlon Vera is 28, so it's a 29. So it's an 8-year difference in age, but you're talking late 30s.
Yeah. It does. It always comes into effect, right? And especially for like the motivation too. Like Cruz, he's kind of done it all, right? He's been the champion like everywhere he's fought, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And now he has, he's doing the commentating as well, just like John Gooden there. Good guess.
Shout out John Gooden.
So it's almost like it's a long climb back to the top, right? Like, is he really going to become the champion again? And is he going to hold it for as long as he can? Or is he comfortable with his job right now? And is he kind of happy with just jumping in there every once in a while to satisfy the itch of getting the fight, right?
But then if that's the case, you shouldn't be fighting top contenders. But then again, what else are you going to do?
Yeah. And at the same time too, like you don't want, when you're that big of a name, like you don't want to be fighting the no-name guys because
the Dana White Contender Series,
right? Like, it's like, oh, Dominic Cruz is only fighting like, guys with their debuts and whatnot. Like that's embarrassing. Or oh, he's on the undercard and whatnot. He wants those main event fights. He's used to them, right?
Of course. And like you said, his style lends him to 5-round fights a lot better than a 3-round.
Yeah,
so, he kind of has to take the main. Yeah, so you're right. He kind of has to take the main event so that he can drag it out into deep waters and then use his kind of style of game. Yeah.
I'm hoping we see the old Dominic Cruz because, he's one of my favorite fighters. Just that style, I love it. It's awkward, unorthodox. I'm kind of the same way. Although, like, I do a lot of dangerous things in my fights. My coaches are always yelling at me, like, why do you circle into your opponent's power? I'm a lefty, right? I'm supposed to be circling away from their power, but I like to go into it because I feel like it's more predictable, right? I keep my hands down because I feel like their punches are more predictable. They just see my head open, so I'm just watching for that. And I feel like he's kind of the same way. He just does things different, and it frustrates guys, right? So, I'd love to see him back in his old ways.
I mean, you're definitely going to see the old Dominic Cruz because he is 38-year-old Dominic Cruz. I don't know. I feel like his style and stuff like that, although it was crazy back in the time when he was a dominant force, I feel like we've now seen it a lot. And I feel like people are going to be able to mimic that in training camps, and Chito is going to be there with his team, and they're going to be able to mimic Dominic Cruz a lot, right? Like even like guys like Tim Elliott, that I can think of, fight very similar to him, right? There's people now that have grown up as children, literally watching Dominic Cruz, and now fight like him, right? So I think that kind of aura and mystery is kind of cracked a little bit. And then Chito Vera does not crack. Dude is a monster. I have a freaking incredible Spider-Man meme about Chito Vera on my page, so go check that out. Preston. Okay, Preston, those are our picks. And that is the fight card. We are perfect on time. We're right around time. Preston,
Nice.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. I'm so happy that you came. I think you were the perfect guest for John Gooden, and I also think that this was perfect because you just got engaged. So it was crazy for us to be able to do that for you. It's nice that we're able to catch up with you.
Thank you.
Where can people find you? Where can people train with you? What do you want to say before we go?
So you can mostly just find me on Instagram at Press the Best, and that's PRESS, and then the best, THEBEST. That's what I am. I train out of Pickering. That's just beside Toronto here in Canada. And we're all over right now. We're going to New York. We have that Muay Thai Cup, World Cup in Calgary. We just keep sending guys to Mexico even. And
Nice.
actually, yeah, sorry, just to touch on like what John Gooden was saying about the bare knuckle fighting. So I have a training partner who just went down to Mexico to fight in Muay Barong, which is like, it's Muay Thai, but with just the ropes around your hand, right? So it's basically bare knuckle, right?
Yeah.
He was paid, it was a pro fight, so he's paid $200. Broke his hand, separated like a few of his knuckles and whatnot. Like he's not fighting for another year at least.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like it's apparently there's some money in that sport, but then when you think of things like that, it's like, oh, it's going to put you out for so long, right? Maybe it's not the best way to go, but it's damn entertaining, right?
Some of those BKFC fighters, though, they come back rather quick. Like I get that he broke his knuckles and whatever, but some of those BKFC fighters are fighting on the regular, man. And you know, they say that they get a lot of cuts, but that those heal up rather quick.
Yeah, it's more so just like the joint damage and whatnot. Because it hurts.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Where else can people see you though? When are you fighting next? I think you were saying.
Yeah, so I think I'll be going back to the Warriors Cup in New York in December. They're gonna have me back at my actual weight class. So
nice.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun there, just dummying some smaller guys. And yeah, that's about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And Preston, I'd be remiss to say, who do you have on screen with you? That is your cute little doggy.
Yes, this is Doggo here. I don't know if you heard her.
Doggo? Oh yeah, we heard her. Oh yeah, we heard her, Preston. We're gonna be sending her a cease and desist next time. There's a cute dog.
Trying
Preston,
to text my fiance there. I'm like, please, can you get her? Please, can you pick her up?
Stop this! You're ruining this. Preston, it was a fantastic episode, man. Guys, I'm glad that everybody was here. Again, remember to cheer on former guests of the podcast, Lupi Godinez, this weekend at UFC, and Tyler Tai Shea. She is fighting at Combate Global on Paramount Plus. So cheer those guys on for us. Go hit them up on their Instagram. Hit up Preston on his Instagram. And that's it, buddy. We will see you next weekend, or we'll see you next week with Britton Hart. Have a good one, buddy. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'll be
See
back. Ciao.